Hi everyone, I hope you are all doing well. So it's the first week of September and the garden is still looking gorgeous, but the temperature it's sort of cooling down. So I know they will be changing rather quickly. So I want to walk you through the front garden and just to kind of show you how beautiful some of the plants are looking at this moment. So let's start here at the front. We've got this blood good Japanese maple. It's been in the ground here for, I would say, 4 years. Don't quote me. Numbers and years have been sort of lost in my head for a little bit. But it's a lovely, lovely blood good Japanese maple. I love the color of the foliage in spring. And as we're heading into fall, where the night temperatures are cooling down, you can kind of see that the leaves are starting to turn that sort of orangey red color again, and it's that fiery red that I really love in this sort of variety. And I also love the fact that it actually can handle full sun in our zone 5 garden. So let us start here at the front island garden bed that I have here. I think of all the years that I have this bed planted, this might be the year that I like, or I rather enjoy this bed the most. And I think everything is just looking really full, especially with the addition of the autumn joy. And I know, and you probably know how much I love the autumn joy sedum. I think it is one of the most beautiful thing in fall. I don't know if you remember, but the sedum, they were divided and planted here last fall, and they were just tiny little sticks that did not look that good. But you can kind of see that they quickly grow and form this beautiful round sort of rosette shape, and it's lovely. And I love the color, and you can kind of see that it's colored up quite nicely as we get into late August into September right now. And you can kind of see that I have it planted on the other side as well. I've got 2 there and then a group of 3 in the back. So I think that's another beautiful thing about these plants is that they get cut all the way down in fall, or sometimes we even leave them on during the winter because they have these little sort of nice upright, and with a little bit of snow on the flower heads, I think that looks really beautiful. And then as soon as spring comes, we cut everything back to the ground, and then they grow all the way back up, looking all neat and tidy and beautiful. Even when they're in that broccoli green stage, I think that's also gorgeous as well. And on the opposite side of the island garden here that I have, I also have the other 2 pieces of the autumn joy sedum that I also divide and planted here last fall. And here in the middle of the island garden bed, it is the quick fire fab. It is one of the earliest botanical hydrangeas to bloom for me this year. So it's quickly gaining its special spot in my heart in terms of botanical hydrangeas. The quick fire fab is supposed to have that sort of beautiful, gorgeous pink color in fall. So you can kind of see that the color is still developing, and this color will become more intense as the sort of temperature of our climate sort of cools down in the next couple weeks or so. And if you look closely, you'll see that some of the florets look a little burnt, and that is because I have not been watering the garden. I have pretty much been watering the garden about once a week, and so I think in the month of August, I've actually hand watered maybe 3 times at the most. Looking at the sedum now, that reminds me of the reason why they're looking so beautiful in the first week of September. That's probably because I have not been watering all that much. So I don't know if you know, but sedum, they actually do better and they thrive in poor soil condition and also in drier soil conditions. So this is probably one of the reasons why, because I have not been watering. So it's just looking gorgeous. And I don't think you can find too many plants that actually thrive in poor gardening, condition in terms of soil quality and water. And here in this bed, you can see the planter that I've got the zinnias growing in there. And in the middle, I know it's hard to see, but it's the vanilla strawberry standard that I trained last year. The heavy rain that we had in August made them look so floppy that I actually cut off all the flower heads. And so the leaves in the middle look a little burnt. That's probably because the zinnias are actually draining all the water from the topsoil. So that's okay. The hydrangea will bounce back, but the zinnias are just looking gorgeous, and I am loving this container. And you can actually see I have the identical container there planted with the same combo of the vanilla strawberry standard that I also trained last year, and zinnias as well. So it's just a beautiful sort of container flanking the two sides of our house. The giant zinnias are actually truly giant, and they actually measured across about 4 inches, or just over 4 inches actually. And I love the fact that they are just so easy to grow. All I did was sort of sow the seeds, and then when they started growing, I put on about an inch or so of compost, and that's really all I did. And they're just growing beautifully, and the blooms are just really gorgeous. And this is just seeds that I planted from one flower that I saved from last year. So it's just amazing how many beautiful blooms you can get with just one seed head. The beautiful Mr. Bowling Ball arborvitae is beautiful. I love it. I love the texture. I love the feel of the plant, and I also love the contrast of the flower head of the autumn joy sedum, as well as the panicles of the bulb here. I think that's just a beautiful combination, and also the sort of fairy-like blooms of the white alyssum. I think that's just really, really pretty. So I don't know if you remember, but previously I just had two bulb plants here. But last fall I did plant a little baby one that I had in the corner there, and that I think makes it really complete. And I love the fact that all three of them are just kind of growing in sort of in compact and tight, and that provides a really beautiful look. Some of the panicles on here look, again, a little burned because they haven't been getting a lot of water, but you can kind of see that there are still some fresh blooms here on the bulbo, and that contrast between fresh, old, and new, I think that makes it really, really pretty as well. I'm also loving this onyx and pearl seed heads pensiment that I have here. It's just really beautiful, and I love the fact that they look like little blooms, right? So pretty. And here's another beautiful compact arb that I love. That's the Anna's Magic Ball. And when everything else in the gardens is starting to look sort of tired and old, the Anna's Magic Ball looks amazing. I love that bright green yellow that sort of looks beautiful all summer long. And I don't know if you noticed, but all of the three that I planted, this one in this location for some reason always do the best. And so not sure why, but I'm not complaining. It's actually, I just want to figure out why so I can imitate the same condition for the other two, right? And here is the Profusion Zinnia in red. Now, I don't know if you know, but I don't usually plant red. So I started planting this last year, and I collected seeds and started growing them this year. And I think this color red on the zinnias actually changed my mind when it comes to red blooms. And I know it doesn't go well with the purple that I have in this container, but I think there's just something about this bright red that's really attractive to me. And I think it's really pretty, really pretty. And here's the William Langwith geranium that I love. I planted one last year, actually 3 plants in one container last year, and I have now another exact same container from root cuttings that I started last year, and then I have another one in the back garden as well. So it's just a really lovely plant because of the variegation and the beautiful pink reddish color flower heads that I love. I also like the fact that geraniums don't actually require a lot of fertilizers like how some of the other annuals that I have around the garden. On this side of the front garden, you can kind of see that the Profusion zinnias are everywhere. I love them so much that I've got them planted. I've got a few pots here. I've also got one on the front porch, and I also have one in front of the garage that you just saw earlier. So here's another of the William Langwith geranium that I had. I think this is the original plant that I planted last year, and a close-up of the container with the giant double zinnias. So pretty. I think this one looks like it's fuller compared to the other container. These zinnias are just so pretty, and the colors here are a little bit different. I've got lots of deeper sort of I would say fuchsia pink, and then I've got some lighter pink, and I also have a few that looks to me like a coral pink, and some white ones, of course. This crimson queen Japanese maple looks like the leaves, the foliage look burned. And again, probably because I haven't been watering all that much, but consider that I don't water as much. It's not looking as bad, right? One of the most beautiful thing about this front garden is actually this hedge of 5 autumn joy sedum that I've got flanking the side of this garden bed. I've got 2 on this side and I've got 3 more on the other side. I also love this combination here with the alyssum, the blue fescue grass, and the autumn joy sedum. I think that's just really, really pretty. In this part of the bed, I actually have 3 of the Mr. Bowling Ball arborvitae planted here as well, which I think provides beautiful structure in the winter and also spring when the flowers or the perennials are not fully grown yet. And in this view, you can actually see the beautiful contrast between Mr. Bowling Ball and the Anna Magic's ball as well. So pretty. So the 2 Anna's Magic Ball on this part of the garden bed don't do well as the one on the island. And again, I don't know why. This bed is always moist because you can kind of see that the grass is always green. So I know it's not because it's not getting enough water. And so I have no clue why, but something is in the sort of part of the garden there that makes it so much better, because these 2 always get killed and butchered by the winter that we have. Here you can see the alyssum. They have bounced back beautifully. I don't know if you remember, but I did cut them back all the way to the ground and gave them a little bit of food then. But since then, I have not been feeding them, and I have not been watering all that much either, right? So, and yet they are thriving. So I'm thinking that from now on, I should grow these with less fertilizing and less watering. And if they continue to perform like this for me, that's even going to be more amazing, because I love plants that can thrive on, less fertilizing and less maintenance. So it's just overall a beautiful plant. And here's a beautiful view of the 3 bulbos that I have here at the front garden. Now, the middle one, for some reason, did not do that well compared to the other 2. Now, I'm thinking possibly because I had half of this boomerang lilac sort of flopped over and held down by the melting snow, and that might have suffocated the branches or half of the plant here. So that's probably the reason why it did not do as well as the other 2 for me here. And here in this view, you can see that the bulbo stand that I've got in that container in the porch. I think that's just a beautiful, lovely addition to the porch, because I love looking at plants, especially when it's raining out. That's actually where I like to sit and just be able to sit listening to the rain under a covered porch and then having beautiful plants surrounding. It's just a wonderful feeling. And here's another beautiful addition to the front garden. That's the limelight punch. You can kind of see here. It was planted last fall, so it's in its first year, and I planted it from a 2-gallon size. So it was pretty small, but it's doing beautifully, and the colors you can kind of see is developing on these, and these are supposed to have that beautiful fall color as well. So I can't wait to see how these will color up as we get further into fall. And when you are in front of the garden, you cannot help but notice the beautiful quick fire standard that I've got. Now, this is the lacy sort of panicles, not your full and compact panicles like the quick fire fab. But I think another beautiful thing about this is that in that sort of heavy rain that we had recently, this was one of the fewer plants that were still upright in that heavy rain, whereas everything else, like the limelight, were all floppy. So really, really thankful for the fact that they're lace cap and they are always upright, and I never have to deal with the floppiness issue. The color you can kind of see is looking sort of a dusty pink right now, and I'm thinking that it's not developing that beautiful fall color yet because I haven't been watering the garden. So I may need to pick up the watering a little bit more if I want that beautiful fall color on these as we get into fall. And this has to be one of my favorite views of the front garden. And here are the containers at the front garden. I've got the Amoralyssum, the dwarf Alberta spruce, and these have really grown quickly for me as well. I remember planting them as tiny little plants in, I think, December 2 years ago. So love it. And I also love the Calabracales here. It's got that sort of light, sort of purple, I guess, or lavender-like color to them. But if you look closely at the spiral boxwood that I've got, these have been constantly plagued by caterpillars all spring and summer, and they're just about to bounce back. So hopefully they will survive, but they were not looking all that great all summer long. So fingers crossed that they survive, because they're actually quite expensive to replace. So that pretty much concludes today's video. I hope you enjoyed the sort of unscripted tour of the front garden, and thank you so much for watching as well. I hope to see you all next time. Take care, everyone. Bye bye for now.